Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. This week on the Road to Rotation we're going over Blue Yellow Queen. This was a pretty interesting list in its time, representing a very grindy way to play the game with a lot of healing, kind of similar to what some of the yellow decks do nowadays, but with much fewer tools, and you kind of had to lean into your leader ability quite a bit. Getting into that leader ability though, we have a 5,000 power 4 life leader with Dawn ×1 when attacking. If you have a total of 4 or less cards in your life area and hand, draw 1 card. If you have a character with a cost of 8 or more, you may add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to the top of your life cards instead of drawing a card. So what this effectively leans into then is a lot of healing, because as soon as you can get an 8 cost on the board, you can heal. And then also having a low hand size. So you're really trying to maximize what you can do with your hand, and kind of grind out the game by just healing multiple times in a turn. Jumping into our first category that we usually go through with these is they're on archetype cards. In this case, Animal Kingdom Pirates. There's not a whole lot in blue, so this shouldn't be too long of a section. First up we have is Who's Who is our basic searcher here, top 5 searcher for Animal Kingdom Pirates. Pretty basic here. After that, we have a kind of more interesting one. We have Ulti. She's a 4-cost, 5,000 power, 1k counter with on play. If your leader is multicolored, look at 3 cards from the top of your deck and add 1 card to your hand. Then place the rest at the top or bottom of your deck in any order. So this works double time for the deck. First, it replaces itself, gives you an extra card with some card selection. But also because it lets you stack on top or bottom, you can use this to set up a card so that when you use your leader ability, you get to heal a card directly into your life, meaning you can set up some pretty good triggers. So definitely a pretty good one to play around with. After that, we have Basil Hawkins, 4-cost, 5,000 power with 1k counter and blocker. And then on block, draw 1 card if you have 3 or less cards in your hand. Then this character gains 1,000 power during this battle. So a pretty effective blocker here, where if you are properly maintaining your hand size, you get to draw a card, which can be pretty good. After that, we have X-Drake, 5-cost, 6,000 power, 1k counter, with blocker again. And on play, look at the top 5 cards of your deck and place them back at the top or bottom in any order. Another card to help you manipulate what's on your life or on the top of your deck, so that when you go to heal, you get to, You get to kind of select what you're putting up there. So pretty important for the way the deck ends up playing. After that, we have one, this is not one I would recommend playing, but it was definitely designed for the deck. We have the Ice Oni, and then there was an event called Playgrounds, that let these two play together. It is an 8 cost, so it allows you to get your ability for your leader active. And the card that plays it, the Playgrounds, actually let's pull up Playgrounds here. Playgrounds here. So let's read Playgrounds. It is a 2-cost event with main. You may trash an Ice Oni from your hand. So if you have one of these in your hand, you can trash it and place 1 character with a cost of 4 or less at the bottom of its owner's deck. You do have to have a target here. It's part of the cost to do the second thing, and then you get to play out the Ice Oni that you discarded from your trash. So the main way you would end up using this is on 2 Dawn. You would pitch one of these, bottom of deck one of their 4 costs. You now have an 8 cost on potentially on turn 3 or 3 Dawn. You then attach 1 to your lead and get to swing and heal if your cards is low enough. It's unlikely that it'll be that low at that point, which is actually one of the limiting factors, is trying to manipulate your hand size. But it does give you access pretty early on in the game to your leader ability. And then this guy has 1k counter and your turn at the end of battle in which this character battles your opponent's character with a cost of 5 or less. Place the opponent's character you battled with at the bottom of its owner's deck. So what this ends up doing is it makes it kind of like a... Death touch isn't the right word necessarily, but you do get to just swing at anything that they have rested with a 0 cost, and then if it's cost 5 or less, it gets bottom decked at the end of the turn. Not something I would generally recommend, just because Playgrounds and Isoni are both very bad cards to have separate from one another. They only really work together, and having a 0 power thing for 8 cost, the fallback is just too bad. Moving on though to some of our top ends for the blue Animal Kingdom Pirates thing, we have 2 different Kaidos. This first one here from OP04, 10 cost, 12,000 power, no counter, with on play, return up to 1 character with a cost of 8 or less, and up to 1 character with a cost of 3 or less to their owner's hands. So notably, this does not say your opponents, so you can bounce your own guys. One of the common play patterns was bounce their 8 cost and one of your 3 cost or less to give you back some counter that you may have used for setup earlier in the game. So it can be pretty good. It does cost 10, so you can't usually use your leader ability on the same turn unless you have access to a couple different specific cards. But it is a very good tempo card if you can find a place to drop it while healthy. After that, we have Kaido Secret Rare from OP05. 10 cost, 12,000 power, no counter, with on play, draw 4 cards if your opponent has 3 or less cards in life. This one is harder to use because you need to manipulate your hand size in this deck, but is definitely a huge swing in cards if you can get it into the right spot. So those are the cards that I kind of highlighted for Animal Kingdom Pirates. Let's move on to the next big category, which is stuff that costs 8 or more. And there's a lot of good options in blue and yellow, so let's just kind of jump into it. First up, we have Charlotte Katakuri. 8 cost, 8,000 power, no counter, with on play, add up to 1 character with a cost of 8 or less to the top or bottom of its owner's life cards face up. So this can act as both heal or removal, depending on the situation. You can either heal one of your own guys into life, or you can put one of their guys. Additionally, if you already have another 8 cost on board, you can just put himself in life. It doesn't say another, so he can play him out to just gain 1 life, essentially. And then as long as you have the right number of cards, you usually will get another heal off your leader, making this quite effective at kind of absorbing attacks. And that's assuming you don't just want to put something of theirs in life. After that, we have this Aramaki. This one's a little bit harder to use. He's an 8 cost, 8,000 power blocker with activate main once per turn. You may trash a card from your hand and place 1 character with a cost of 2 or less at the bottom of its owner's deck. The placing the character on the bottom is part of the cost. So if you don't have a target, you do not get to use this ability, which is why I say it's harder to use. But then if you can manage that, this character gains 3,000 power during this turn, which is very good. So if you can manage an 11k blocker on turns and kind of get your opponent into a spot, they're kind of incentivized to never play out 2 costs, no matter how good they are at that point, because you get to so much advantage out of it. So definitely one to watch. The trash is also good at manipulating your hand size, so another good one to watch. After that, we have Dractyl Mihawk, 8 cost, 10,000 power, with on play, draw 1 card. Pretty simple card here. One of the things that you have to be careful with the Queen ability is you can go low in hand size, but you don't want to go all the way to 0 often. So sometimes once you are at the comfortable 4 cards combined between life and hand, you often want to have your cards replace themselves, either through a heal or through something like this where you're drawing a card, just so that you have defense enough to survive. After that, we have Eustace Captain Kidd, 8 cost, 9,000 power. With on play, you may rest this character, trash up to 1 card from the top of your opponent's life cards, and then end of turn, if your opponent has 2 or less life cards, draw 1 card and trash 1 from your hand. This is another great one for the deck. You get to exert some immediate pressure on your opponent's life, and the filtering at the end of the turn lets you get rid of bricks. One of the things that can be tough with manipulating your hand is if you get too many bricks in your hand, you end up in a spot where you can't properly manage it. So being able to pitch extra bricks and hold on to counter that you can use to help manipulate your hand size is quite important in the deck. Next up, we have another really good card for the deck. 8 cost, 8,000 power, no counter Monkey D. Luffy. He has Rush, and when attacking, you may trash 1 card from your hand, return up to 1 character with a cost of 4 or less to the owner's hand, then give up to 1 Rested Dawn card to your leader or one of your characters. This is really nice because on 8 Dawn, you can play him out and trash a card to put a Dawn on your leader. And so that helps manage your hand size and gives you the Dawn you need for your leader, gives you a rushing thing, and you probably can heal at that point as well. So a lot to like on this one. It's really good on curve, and also just a pretty strong card at dealing with your opponent's board, making it to where they can't really play any of their 4 costs effectively because they will just constantly be bounced. After that, we have the 8 cost, 8,000 power Don Quixote do Flamingo with, if you have 2 or less life cards, which is going to be very frequent in this deck, this character gains Rush, so nice offensive threat. And then opponent's turn on KO, add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to the top of your life cards. This disincentivizes your opponent from killing it because you will get the heal off of it. And one of the things that can be a problem for this deck is if you can't get an 8 cost or more to stick, then you have to every turn invest all 8 of those Dawn, 8 or more of those Dawn into establishing a body so that you can reuse the leader ability, which can be a problem. So having a guy that is a little sticky can be important. After that, we have the newest one for the deck, and I think actually a very promising archetype for the deck as well. We have Gecko Moria in the Thriller Bark package. He's an 8 cost, 10,000 power, no counter. With on play, select up to 1 Thriller Bark Pirates type character with a cost of 4 or less from your trash and play it, or add it to the top of your life cards face up, essentially giving you the ability to heal them more than once in a turn. Then it also has a trigger of play up to 1 character card with a cost of 4 or less from your trash. This one also happens to work pretty nicely with the life stacking ability in the deck. You can stack him on top of your life and then use the leader ability to heal, giving you this trigger, which allow you to maybe play out the Thriller Bark Pirates blocker, or maybe an ulti or some other character who you are focusing on with the deck. After that, we have the classic one for the deck, Mihawk, 9 cost, 9,000 power, no counter, with on play, place up to 1 character with a cost of 7 or less at the bottom of its owner's deck. Very important for the way that Queen plays is being able to have 1 Dawn up after you use it. Play your characters so that you can use your leader ability, and this fits the bill perfectly, giving you a little bit of tempo as well by removing their guys to kind of relieve some of the pressure on what at the point of the game will be a low hand size and low life. Next one is another classic one for the deck. Came out in the same set. 9 cost, 9,000 power, no counter, Yamato. On play, KO up to 1 of your opponent's characters with a cost equal to or less than the total of you and your opponent's life cards. Then, if you have 1 or less life card, add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to the top of your life cards. Frequently, this is a way of enabling heal 2 for the turn and remove a 4 or 5 drop from your opponent. This deck tends to want to starve, so your opponent will have more life going into the end game and allows you to use Yamato to KO very large characters in a way that kind of drains your opponent of resources very effectively. And then if it sticks, it's a very good body at eventually coming back and swinging for game late into the thing. After that, we have the one last piece, and actually a very good synergy piece because you want to manipulate the top of your deck, is the Sanji here. 9 cost, 9,000 power, no counter, with on play, reveal 1 card from the top of your deck and play it. From the top of your deck and play up to 1 character with a cost of 9 or less other than Sanji, then place the rest of the bottom of the deck in any order. This allows you to double play 9 costs, which is really important because it's hard for opponent to remove 1, but when you have 2, it's even harder for them to deny you the ability to use your leader ability on a following turn. And then just getting a huge amount of value, synergizing with the top deck manipulation that blue is already incentivizing you to do with the leader. After that, we have Kozuki Odin, 9 cost, 10,000 power, no counter, with double attack. And on KO, draw 2 cards and trash 1 from your hand. Another card similar to Dofi here, where it disincentivizes your opponent from removing it. It exerts a whole lot of pressure on your opponent, being a double attacking 10k. And so, yeah, there's just a lot to kind of like here. For the card, and also being a 9 cost means you still have Dawn left for leader ability. As far as 10 costs go, this is the only one that I kind of focused on because so often you can't afford to use up all of your Dawn for turn and then not have anything available for leader ability. Because your hand size is so small and you're angling towards that hand size thing, you really need to be able to take advantage of your leader ability. Otherwise, you're giving up a whole lot of value for not much benefit. So this is the only one that I focused on. It is a 10 cost, 10,000 power with on play, add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to the top of your life cards. Then if you have 2 or less life cards, this character gains Rush. So it's a guaranteed heal 1. And if you've managed to find a way to put some Dawn on your leader through some other means, then you can use the leader ability to get a second heal, making this a very effective turn. Similar to how Yamato works, but swinging a 10k into their body instead of just outright KOing it, with the advantage that Yamato requires your opponent have higher life, and Ace just cares that your life is low, which is kind of where you want. So those are the big bodies you're hoping to kind of lock in and use to get your leader ability online. Final category I wanted to go over is stuff that cares about the top of your life going to your top of your deck going to your life, kind of leaning into the blue yellowness of the deck. So starting out, I want to focus on the top deck stacking. So you have your Perona here. Look at the top 5, place them at the top of the deck in any order. And you have Dofi, same effect, just on a blocker for 3 cost. And then you have Kaya, same effect, but on a 2 cost 2k counter. All of these are good ways of setting up that top of your deck for a specific heal, which can be important if you need to do a trigger. So stuff that you could do with triggers, Kikunojo as a classic that we have. If you are playing Borsalino plus a Rayquaza help, that would be a good way to set up Rayquaza so that you can get this Borsalino back. In addition to Borsalino just being a great card for healing, Borsalino, if you've managed to stick an 8 cost, you can play out this Borsalino, heal, then attach 1 to leader, swing again, heal a 3rd time, going up to potentially 3 life. And then you have your blocker, 3 life, and an 8k plus character, meaning you kind of put yourself into a spot where you're really kind of significantly up in the game potentially from that. Other cards I wanted to focus on, we have Shirahoshi, who's just a really annoying to get rid of blocker, allowing you to get another heal if they try to get rid of it through a KO. A 2k counter here, Sanji, who lets you take cards out of your life, and then if you have a good card on the top of your deck, you get to kind of swap those, put one into your hand, put the other one in there. It at the end of the day represents a draw 1 on a 2k counter that you probably can use as some of your early game plays. We have Zeus here, which lets you maintain the same -1 card from your hand plus life combined to KO something, because he goes to the board, you draw a card from your life, your net cards in hand and life goes down by 1, and you get a KO, which can be really important for manipulating times when you already have maybe your 8 cost on board, and you get to use this to remove something before setting up the heal. After that, we have Otama, similar to the other one, just in a more aggressive thing. This one is usually going to be used to protect you by KOing something. This one is going to be used for going for game more. In a similar way, you play it out from your hand and go -1 on your hand plus life, which may be what you need to get your leader ability active. Then it also represents the ability to do it again on the following turn, so your opponents are incentivized to swing into it if they don't have a searcher that is helping you heal yet another life. Next, we have Nico Robin, 3 cost, 5,000 power, no counter. With on play, you may trash 1 from the top of your life and add 1 from the top of your deck to the top of your life. Another one that is great at once you have stacked the life, you get to heal it directly into the thing, and it represents an early game play that you can make, letting you get on some early pressure. Sometimes that can be a difficulty with the deck, give you ways to fight at board that's not just your leader. We already went over Kinojo, Borsellino. This card, I think if you're playing this style of deck, you just have to play this. Rayquaza, if Borsellino and Rayquaza both make it past this ban list, I think that's almost certainly the way to go with the deck. And we'll probably, the sample deck list will probably build in that direction. We'll see in a couple days what the ban list actually has in store for us. So it could be that our list is out of date pretty immediately. So I'll try to give an alternative for the combo here when I get to the deck list. After that, we have Nami, 5 cost, 6,000 power, 1k counter with blocker and on play. If your leader is multicolored, draw 3 and place 2 from your hand at the top or bottom of your deck in any order. This is like ulti, but significantly stronger because you get to, instead of just from the 3 that you're looking at with ulti, you get to put 2 from your life back, or from your hand back, letting you to very importantly manipulate that top card. A lot of times you'll get stuck with a card that you really want as a trigger in your hand, and this allows you to just get it on top to set up for your leader ability to go for it. The next 2 are 2 different Kumas. They both end up healing you, which is their main option, and then they have some other advantages. This Kuma lets you heal 1 on KO for him, and this one on KO puts, it's kind of life burn. It's similar to the yellow Nami, who is also a good option for this deck potentially, but I didn't want to focus too much on it because it's not as synergistic with the deck. And final card I wanted to go over, this one's a little more speculative. There are some interesting law cards in blue. There is, let me pull him up. Blue. This law here is actually quite interesting, allowing you to kind of attack their life and kind of punish them for having a bunch of cards. And because our deck is attempting to win with a lot of large bodies, giving them a large hand size at the cost of their life means that when you go to start swinging with your big bodies, you're going to drain those cards very quickly out of their hand, kind of reducing the effectiveness of their large hand size. One of the ways that large hand size decks can really abuse their thing is if you have to swing a bunch of 5s or something into it. That's just one card, and they've got so many that it's easy for them to toss them. But if you have, for example, 3 9 or 10k attacks, that drains their, doesn't matter how big their hand is, you're going to be draining a lot of cards out of it. So I highlighted it here. There is quite a bit of Supernova support in yellow and a little bit in blue through the law here. And so being able to kind of bridge those two with another card that heals and lets you play out a different law from your hand can represent kind of an interesting balance. I haven't gone through the numbers to see exactly what the deck would need to look like, but I do think that there's some merit to this card and Queen. But those are the cards I wanted to go through for blue, yellow, Queen. I will jump over to the sim now and give you guys a sample deck list. All right, here with the deck list. So I guess the important things to concentrate are top end here. I went with Captain Kidd, Sanji, Luffy, and Kuma as kind of my top end cards. Kuma has the advantage that I didn't catch before, that when he comes down, the turn he comes down, he isn't a cost, which means that he is pretty easy to use with Queen on that turn. You just have to maneuver yourself into the correct spot with your hand size, which can be difficult for sure. And I added in Marshall Lee Teach as one I forgot to mention in the card section, as a card that you can use to just stack whatever you want into life. You can stack your Rayquazars so that you can play out the Borsalinos, or you can stack Veggie or something like that so you can get some good triggers. So great card for the deck. Otherwise, Borsalino Rayquazar is in here. We have the zero cost event as something great to stack as your last life if you need to. And then we have a suite of 2Ks. I went with Kaya, Veggie, and Frankie. Kaya for stacking these two as good triggering bodies. And then, yeah, I already went over top end. The last two cards that I put in some Gravity Blades. They're kind of hard to use. You have to kind of already stuck one of your big bodies and have it live so that you can afford to use Gravity Blade with leader ability. It's definitely a tough deck to navigate. The hand size is really hard to manage just because every once in a while you'll think that you're going to be able to get there and you have to take a life or whatever, and then you hit a brick which just doesn't let you get cards out of your hand, and it's kind of hard to get your hand and life low enough at an earlier point in the game. So I think that there's probably some manipulation that you could be doing with the deck to get some cards that have maybe the downside of discarding some cards just to like get something set up. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, let's look at one of the cards that I wanted to. It is Shiryu. This Shiryu card would definitely be one that you could opt to play, allowing you to get the tempo and a pretty easy heal here, because you can discard your hand and then almost with whatever life you have, you'll be able to use the Queen ability while getting some tempo. I would not recommend this one in a lot of situations, but there are definitely situations where the cards in your hand aren't doing anything anyways. So pitching them to let you get a good bounce and then have the leader ability to heal afterwards is sometimes going to be great. I don't know if I would include too many copies of it because like a lot of your other 8 costs it is a brick, so it's not something to be taken lightly. But yeah, these are the kinds of cards that I kind of put together. I did a couple games in Sim, and it definitely felt like I could get close to the end of the game, but I usually ran out of steam just a smidge early. Modern decks are definitely tough to keep up with, and I don't know if I need to switch out maybe the Kid or the Sanji for some more heal and just go a little bit longer on the healing grinding mode. I figured that these two would be a good way of kind of like pivoting into the end game, but it could just be that you're better off just full starving and full healing and just waiting till your opponents have nothing left to do, and then you use your top end for clearing out their board in the meantime. But this is the deck I came up with. Next week will be Yellow Purple Crocodile. It's actually one I'm quite familiar with and I've had a lot of fun on in the past, and it'll be actually our penultimate episode. There will only be one video after that, the Red Uta, which I saved for last, even though it's definitely one of the harder leaders to do. But hope you guys are looking forward to that, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.